All right. Let me see. This might be a little bit foggy. Here we go. All right, we'll go ahead and get started in a seat. So let's go with bottoms of the feet together. Knees can open up a little bit wider. Okay, grab onto those ankles just to start. Roll those shoulders down and back. Sit up nice and tall. So you might notice that you're a little bit more leaned forward or that spine is rounded. Then sit yourself back a little bit so we're really tall through that spine. Relaxing those shoulders down. You can adjust those feet a little bit too. You can bring them in a little bit closer, bring them a little bit wider. Now this might be a big stretch, but you want to find a slightly more comfortable position that we can sit for a little bit longer. All right, closing down those eyes, just sitting up nice and tall. Start to breathe in and out through the nose. Sitting a little taller on that inhale. Feeling those knees maybe soften down to the mat a little more. Your tailbone, your sit bones a little heavy into the mat. Again, inhale, big expansion through those lungs, through the rib cage. And exhaling all that air out. Yeah, a couple more times. Big breath in. Nice and slow on the way out. And now we'll reach those arms up overhead. Okay, keeping those knees wide. Let's twist it over to that right side. Sit really tall on that inhale. Use that left hand. Kind of pressure and twist yourself a little bit more. We'll go center, and then we'll go over to that other side. So sit up really tall. Then exhale, twist. Now bring it back to center. Grab onto those ankles, and then just start to lean forward. So leading with that chest as we lean in a little deeper into the stretch. And then we'll rise back up. Bring those knees together here. We're going to point those hands either to point back or kind of even out to the side is fine too. Okay, press into those feet. Draw those shoulders down and back, starting to lift through the chest. Then we'll press and lift those hips up, reversing that tabletop. And then we'll lower it back down. And we're going to do it 2 more times. Okay, if you want to stay with the knees bent, you can. Okay, or you can extend those legs out, press into the heels, lift the hips up, and try to get those toes to touch the ground. So how high we're lifting through those hips. Good, roll it back down. 1 more time, press, lift it up. And roll it back down. Go ahead and cross those legs. Roll on over to those hands and knees. We'll go into those cat cows. So on that inhale, we'll drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. Exhale, we'll round that spine, press the shoulder blades away, draw the belly up in it. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. 1 more. Inhale, lift. And round. Bring it back to neutral spine. We're going to send that right leg back. Flex that foot. Point those toes down. Core is tight. We're going to reach that left arm forward. Reach to the heel. Reach to that fingertips. Now, exhale, curl it in. Draw that elbow to the knee. Inhale, press, reach out long. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, extend it out. Last time, curl that knee in. Extend it back out. I'm going to lower the hand down. We'll sweep that leg out towards that right side of the mat. You try and plant that foot down. Okay, now drop that belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. 1 more. Inhale, lift. And round. Bring it back to neutral. Press those hips back just a few inches. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, press it back a little further. Inhale it back up. Last time, press those hips back. And we'll hold it. Let's maybe walk those hands forward a little bit more, lifting through that tailbone. Another breath. And then we'll come back up onto those hands and knees, extending that leg back and across the mat then. So try and plant those toes on the left side of the mat. Then we're gonna twist, reaching that left arm up. We thread it under. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, thread it through. Last time, inhale, reach that arm up. And then lower that hand down, lower that knee down. To the other side, we're gonna send that left leg back. The right arm is gonna reach forward. Okay, exhale, curl it in, touch that elbow to the knee. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach. Last time, curl it in. Reach it back out. Good, now lower the hand, sweep that left foot out to the side. Then inhale, drop that belly, lift the chest to tailbone. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. One more. Inhale, lift. And round. Bring it back to neutral. Press the hips back. Inhale it up. Exhale, press it back. Inhale it up. Exhale. A little bit further and hold. Thinking, lifting that tailbone up. And then we'll come back to hands and knees, sending that leg back and then across the mat to the other side. So this time that left hand plants underneath that left shoulder. We're going to twist, right arm reaches up. Exhale, thread it under. Inhale, send it up. Exhale, thread it under. Inhale, reach it up. And thread. Reach it up. And lower that hand down. Lower that knee down. Let's go ahead and bring those toes together. Knees can come a little bit wider. Send those hips back to the heels. Reaching through those arms, resting that head down. Just for about 2 breaths. Then come back up onto hands and knees. Go ahead and step it back to our plank. And then hips to the sky, down dog. And pressing that tailbone up, press those heels down. And then we'll inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step those feet up top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing. Reaching those arms up. Interlace the fingers, side bend to the right. Inhale it up. Exhale it to the left. Inhale, bring it back up. Release those hands as we fold. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, plant those hands, step those feet back to our plank. Shift that weight forward, lower down, point the toes, roll the shoulders down and back as we lift that chest into that cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhaling those hips up to the sky, down dog. And inhale on the toes, bend those knees, step or hop those feet top of the mat. Inhale the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing, reach up tall, side bend to the right. Inhale it up, exhale to the left. Inhale it up and exhale, fold. Flat back on that inhale. Exhale, plant those hands, step or hop those feet back right down into that chaturanga. Inhale, lift, up dog, and exhale, down dog. One more time. Inhale on the toes. Bend the knees, step or hop those feet top of the mat. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, and side bend to the right. Inhale up tall. Exhale to the left. Inhale it back up. Release the hands as we fold. Half lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Step or hop it back lower. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Now let's walk those feet a little bit close together. We're going to turn those toes out, heels in. Come really high up on those toes. We're going to bend into those knees, and then we're going to hop those feet into that squat stance. Okay. Feet wide, sinking those hips down. Chest is lifted, hands come to heart center. Hold it here. Now we'll lower those hands down. We're going to hop those feet back into that frog stance. So bending into those knees to absorb that landing. Then we can straighten those legs out into that down dog. So press the hips up, press the heels down. Again, turning the toes out, heels in. Let's bend into those knees. Hop those feet to the hands. Sink it down into that squat. And then lower those hands down, hop the feet back to that frog. Straighten the legs out, down dog. And now inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, turning the toes out. Last time, we're gonna hop those feet up into that squat. And hold it here. Really tall chest. Knees are pressing out. And then now from there, plant those hands. We'll hop those feet back. Good. Into our down dog. Then inhaling that right leg up to the sky. We'll send that right knee outside that right wrist. Plant that foot down. Back knee stays lifted. So we're in that lizard lunge. So really strong through that back leg. Knees pulling away from the mat. And then the hips are pressing down to the mat. And then we'll send that leg back up to the sky. Three-legged dog. Open up that hip, bending that top knee. And curl that knee to the nose. Stepping that foot through. Inhaling the arms up. That back heel stays up. So we're in that high crescent lunge. Soften through those shoulders. Bend into that front knee. I'll bring the hands to heart center as we twist. Hook that left elbow across that right thigh. Looking over that right shoulder or elbow. Okay, now inhale those arms up. We're gonna pivot, turn, face the long edge of the mat. We're gonna lunge into that left knee, side lunge. Then bring it back to the front of the mat. Stay low, turning all 10 toes to point forward. Plant that left hand, twisting right arm reaches up. And lower that hand down. Send that foot back to a plank, maybe a three-legged plank as we lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. And feet together. Inhaling that left leg up. Step that left foot outside that left hand. Back leg is strong. Hips press down. And then we'll send that leg back up to the sky. Open up that hip, bend that top knee. And then we'll re-square off those hips. Curl that knee to the nose as we step that foot through. Inhaling those arms up overhead into our lunge. I'll bring those hands to heart center as we twist. So right elbow across that left thigh. And then inhale, we'll rise, that pivot turn. Facing the long edge of the mat, we'll lunge into that right knee, side lunge. And then walk those hands back to the front. We'll plant that right hand as we twist. Left arm reaches up. And lower that hand down. Step it back to a plank or that three-legged plank lower. Inhale, toes down as we lift the chest. And exhale, hips to the sky. Down dog. You can walk the feet a little closer together. Heels in, toes out. Bend into those knees. Hopping those feet top the mat into that squat. Lower the hands, hop it back. Land in that frog. Hop it forward. Squat. Lower. Hop back. Soft landing. Go right back into that squat. Hold. And then we'll lower those hands down. Hop it back. Straighten those legs. Down dog. Inhaling. That right leg lifts. Bring that right foot outside that right hand. Send that leg back up to the sky. Open up through that hip. Bend that top knee. Roll that knee to the nose. Stepping that foot through. Inhaling those arms up. Core tight. Hands will come to heart center as we twist. Hooking that left elbow across that right thigh. And then inhale, arms back up. Pivot, turn, long edge of the mat. Side lunge into that left knee. Walk those hands back to the front. Low lunge with a twist. Right arm reaches up. Lower that hand down. Step it back to our plank. And vinyasa, or skip it. Down dog, child's pose, whatever you need. Feet together. Inhale, left leg up. Step that foot outside that left hand. Now send that leg back up. Open the hip, bend that top knee. Now curl that knee to the nose. Step that foot through. Inhale, reaching those arms up. Hands will come to heart center as we twist right elbow across that left thigh. Inhale, reach those arms back up. Pivot, side lunge, right leg. Then walk those hands back to the front. Plant that right hand, twisting left arm reaches up. And then lower that hand down, step it back, plank. Lower, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Few more of these hops. So toes out, heels in. Then into those knees, hop those hands, hop the feet outside the hands. Sink the hips down. Now lower the hands, hop it back, soft landing in that squat. Or the frog, go right back up to that squat. Lower the hands, hop it back, soft landing, hop it forward into that squat. Now here, you want to play around with our crow pose. You have that option. So for that crow, plant those hands down. We want to bring those knees up to those armpits, really spread those fingers out. So we'll shift that weight forward, looking forward, lengthening through that spine, lifting through those feet, maybe one, maybe both, breathing. And then maybe you hop those feet back, maybe at the same time, maybe one at a time, and then vinyasa. And we'll meet in a child's pose, bringing those knees just a little bit wider so there's room for that chest. Come out between those legs, little opening through that upper back. One more breath. And then we'll come back onto those hands and knees, stepping it back to our plank. Hips up, downward facing dog. Then we'll bring those feet together. Inhale, again, that right leg up. Exhale, step that right foot outside that right hand. Hold it here. Now we'll add in a twist here with the knee lifted, reaching that right arm up. Lower that hand down, straighten that front leg. Send those hips up high, lift high onto that back heel. And then we'll rebend into that knee, plant those hands, send that leg back up, opening up that hip, bend that top knee. Weight is even in those hands. Now bring that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Back heel lowers down, inhaling those arms up into that warrior one. So really press into that back heel and then into that front knee. Feet can be slightly staggered. Now bringing those hands to heart center, hover that chest, and then we'll twist, hooking that left elbow across that right knee. Try and keep that back heel down. If it lifts, that's okay. And inhale those arms back up into a standing split. So lower those hands down, lifting that left leg, reaching it up to the sky. Try and square those hips off a little bit more. And then fold, bringing that belly a little closer to that thigh. And then we'll do a big step back into that warrior two. Core tight, reaching through those fingers, pressing that right knee out. I'm gonna be able to see that big toe. One more breath. Let's circle those hands down. Step it back to our plank, hand down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hips up, downward facing dog. Feet together, inhale, that left leg lifts. Step that left foot outside that left hand. Back knee is lifted, hold it here for a breath. And then we'll twist, left arm reaches up. Lower that hand down, straighten that front leg, lift the hips up high, high onto that back heel. And then rebend into that knee, sending that leg back. Three-legged dog, open up that hip, bend that knee. And then square the hips off, bring that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Back heel lowers down, inhaling those arms up. And bring your hands to heart center. Hover, and then twist that elbow across. Keeping that back heel down as fast as you can. And bring those arms back up. Lower those hands down to the ground, lifting that right leg up. Walking the hands back, bringing that head, that belly a little bit closer to that standing leg. A big step back into that warrior two. That Extending out long through those arms. Press that right knee out. One more breath. And we'll circle those arms all the way down, sending it back to our plank and down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, those hips high, down dog. So we're going to move through that again, and then we're going to add on to it. So feet together, right leg lifts, right foot outside that right hand, lizard lunge. Twisting right arm reaches up and lower that hand down, straighten that front leg. Maybe even pulling the toes up too, makes it a little bit more intense stretch. We bend into that knee, send that leg up and back, open that, bend that top knee, knee to the nose, step that through, back heel lowers, inhale those arms up. Hands come to heart center as we twist. Left elbow hooks across. Inhale those arms up. And lower the hands down to the mat. Send that left leg up high. Big step back into that warrior two. And lower that forearm down or slide that hand to the inside of the foot. Reaching that left arm up and over. And we'll circle those hands down and around. Turning the left toes out just slightly. Side lunge. Hands can come to heart center, make it a little bit more challenging. And then we'll walk those hands back to the front. Turn all 10 toes forward. Plant that left hand, twisting. Right arm reaches up. Now we're going to turn the heels to the left, toes to the right, and then we'll send that leg back to that side plank. Okay, maybe you keep that leg lifted, a little more challenging. Now we flip it over. Maybe that leg stays up, and then we continue through it and send the hips to our down dog. Feet together. Inhale that left leg up. Send that foot outside that hand. Lizard lunge. And then twist, reaching that left arm up. Lower that hand down. Straighten that front leg. Maybe pull the toes up. Rebend into that knee. Plant the hands. Send that leg up and back. Open that hip bend, that knee. Then square it off. Knee to the nose. Step the foot through. Warrior one, stance with those feet. Inhaling those arms up. Hands to heart center, hover that chest, and twist. And we'll bring those arms back up. Lower those hands down. Right leg lifts. And take that big step back into that warrior two. Lowering that forearm down. Moving that right arm over, or that left hand inside that foot. Circle those arms down and around. Toes will turn out as we lunge into that right knee, hands to heart center. And we'll walk those hands back to the front, coming into that lunge, adding in that twist. The left arm reaches up. Now start to heel toe. Walk that left foot back a little bit. Toes are turning to the left, heels are turned to the right. Send that leg back, maybe keeping that leg lifted. And we'll come to our front plank. See if you can still keep that foot up and then lower. Now the foot can lower. Inhale, lift that chest. And exhaling those hips to the heels. Quick breath in our child's pose. And inhale, back onto those hands and knees. Let's step it back to our down dog. Now here we go, heels in, toes out, bend into those knees, hopping those feet into that squat. One more time to practice that crow pose. So hands down, bring the knees up to those armpits, shifting that weight forward. Maybe we lift those feet up. Keep that length through the spine, really looking for that your face is pretty close to the ground. Good, and try and maybe if you have that crow, hopping those feet back to that plank. Hold this plank, then we'll drop those heels over to that right side. The left arm reaches up. Maybe you keep that top leg lifted, or maybe just lower it down as we thread that left arm under. Inhale it back up. Exhale, thread it under. Inhale it up. Last time. thread it through. Inhale, reach it up. And then we'll come back to front plank. Go over to that left side. Right arm reaches up again. If you want to make it a little bit harder, keep that leg lifted. You can. Okay, we'll thread that right arm under. Inhale it back up. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, reach it up. Last time, thread that arm under. Inhale it back up. Lower it down to front plank. Let's hold it here really strong through that core. So that core strength is what's gonna help you with those arm balances like that crow pose. So building that strength is key. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shift it forward, lower. Inhale, lift. And then exhaling those hips back to those heels for that child's pose. Good. Now, let's come back to our downward facing dog. We'll step that right foot outside that right hand. Back knee lowers down. So pulling that chest forward, start to bend into those elbows. You can lower down onto those forearms. So maybe that hip is stretched out enough that the arms get down there, forearms get down there a little bit easier. If they don't, no big deal. And then we'll come back onto those hands, sending that leg back to our down dog. And then we'll go the other side, stepping that left foot outside that left hand. Lower that back knee down, and then make your way onto those forearms. And come back to those hands. Sending it back to our downward facing dog. Now we're going to lower onto those knees. If you're on a harder surface, I would walk to face the long edge of the mat. And then we're going to go into either your tadpole or your frog pose. So tadpole is a really, really wide kneed child's pose. Okay, the toes are pointed and angling towards each other. Then from there, you're just pressing those hips back. You can get those hips a little bit closer to the heels, okay, in this position. Okay. Or if you want to go into that full frog pose, just send those feet out a little bit wider. Okay, so they're around in line with your ankles. They can even go past it a little bit. Turn the toes out just slightly and then press those hips back. Now, same in this position. If you want to angle those feet in a little bit, you can. Okay, this one I find that it's a little bit harder to press those hips back. This one's a little bit more intense. So kind of whatever you're feeling. I wouldn't say it's super comfortable because this is a pretty big stretch, but as comfortable as you can be getting a really good stretch in this posture is kind of where I want you. So keeping that nice flat back, not too arched, not too rounded, just nice neutral spine, and then actively pressing those hips back to those heels. Let's stay with it. Maybe press those hips back a little bit more. Now slowly make your way out of it. We'll come onto your backs. Take your time getting there. Now we'll go into a hip bridge. Sometimes that helps to kind of extend out through those hip flexors. That pressing back kind of tightens them up a little bit. So low back is flat, press into those feet, and then we'll roll the tailbone up off the ground first, one vertebrae at a time, squeezing those glutes and those hamstrings so that you press the feet down. Kind of pull back towards you, pull the heels back towards you as we continue to lift through those hips. So we don't want that big arch through the back. We want nice and neutral spine, extending out through the hip flexors. And slowly roll it on down. Hugging those knees into the chest. Give it a little rock from side to side. And we'll hug that right knee in. The left leg extends out. And then we'll twist, using that left hand to twist that knee across. Right arm reaches out. And bring it back to center. Let's switch sides. Left knee hugs in, right leg reaches out. And twist. Yeah, bring that knee back to center. Hugging those knees in. Just give it a little rock from side to side. Let's go into that full happy baby. So knees will be wide. Reach for the outside edges of feet. Draw that tailbone down first, and then we can start to extend out through those legs. So maybe trying to bring those knees to a 90-degree bend is good. Okay, maybe you can go a little bit further, but just try and keep pulling the knees down first and then extending out those legs. You can give it a little rock from side to side. And then from there, let's bring the bottoms of the feet together. Lower the feet down. Keep those knees wide, kind of like how it started, but we'll be obviously laid down on our backs. Maybe a little bit more core engagement. So try and draw that low back down towards the mat. And then we'll bring those knees together. Hug the knees in, round that spine. Bring the forehead to the knees. And we'll extend those legs out. Reach those arms overhead. Full body stretch from the fingertips all the way down to those toes. And then we'll bring those arms down by the sides. Palms will face up. Shoulder blades will walk together. Bring those legs a little bit wider. Take that big breath in through the nose and exhale it out. Just completely relaxing here for these next couple minutes. And begin to deepen your breath. Just gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. We'll reach those arms overhead, that full body stretch, fingertips all the way down through the toes. And hug those knees in, roll over onto that right side. Bring that arm support your head. The left arm just falls in front, completely resting on your side for a moment. And press it on up into a seat. Eyes remain closed, hands are resting on your knees. Roll those shoulders down and back. Take that big breath in through the nose and exhale out the mouth. Yeah, one more time. Big breath in and exhale it out. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me. Have a great evening. And then I hopefully will see you back here tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for an all levels, just a quick 25-minute flow. All right. Thanks, guys.